Have you ever looked at a relationship, maybe even your own, and wondered why it's so hard to leave when it clearly hurts? Today, we are getting into it. We're breaking down that powerful, really confusing dynamic that can feel so much like love, but is actually something else entirely.
I mean, it's the question, isn't it? So many of us have asked it. If a relationship is causing all this pain and anxiety, why does walking away feel just impossible? Well, I want you to know that feeling is real, it's incredibly powerful, and we're about to get to the very heart of why that is. Sometimes it feels like this unbreakable connection, a magnetic pull that just doesn't make any logical sense. But what if that intense bond isn't rooted in love at all? Let's take a look at why a connection can feel so incredibly strong, sometimes because it's so damaging. And that is the absolute key right there. We're not just talking about a relationship going through a rough patch. This is something different. It's a specific, recognized psychological pattern, and just being able to see it, to understand it, can change everything. Okay, so let's put a name to this feeling, because it has one. It's time to define the psychological mechanism that can make a really toxic situation feel, well, as addictive and as powerful as any drug. So here it is. It's called a trauma bond. And the really crucial part of this definition is the word cycle. This bond is forged, it's created through a repeating cycle. It's not about being weak, it's not a personal failing, it's a powerful psychological attachment built on this destructive mix of pain followed by these little bursts of affection or kindness. And this chart, wow, it just lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, you've got a healthy bond. The foundation, respect, trust. It feels stable, safe. But then look at the trauma bond column. The foundation is fear and unpredictability. It's defined by these insane highs and devastating lows. And that right there is what creates that constant feeling of being anxious, of being on edge. It's just total emotional whiplash. So how does a bond like this actually form? I mean, it doesn't just happen overnight. It is built and it's reinforced through a very specific and honestly a very powerful cycle of behavior. So let's break down exactly how that cycle works. This right here, this is the engine that drives the whole thing, positive reinforcement. See, after something cruel happens or you're neglected, there's a sudden flood of affection. And this isn't just a simple, I'm sorry. It's a tool, whether it's conscious or not, that literally rewires your brain. That sudden relief, that kindness, it releases dopamine, which, is the same chemical involved in addiction. It makes you crave that high, and that reinforces the bond. And this shows us that cycle in action. Look, it starts with an incident of abuse, but then comes the hook, that intense positive reinforcement, the gifts, the apologies, the promises. This leads to that temporary honeymoon phase, right? That moment of calm where you feel like, okay, things are good again, and hope comes rushing back. You really believe it's going to be different this time. But then, slowly, the tension starts building again. And that dread, that anxiety, it just grows until the cycle repeats, forging an even stronger bond every single time. So with a cycle that confusing, how in the world are you supposed to tell the difference when you're on the inside looking out? Well, let's go through some of the most common signs that what you might be feeling isn't love, but a trauma bond. Just look at these signs and notice how they all connect. You find yourself justifying their behavior, so you end up hiding what's really going on from your friends and family. You feel almost addicted to those good moments, those highs, which creates this intense sense of loyalty, even when you're getting hurt. And it all leads to that awful, profound feeling of being completely stuck, with your self-worth just totally wrapped up in their approval. These aren't the signs of a partnership, they're the hallmarks of a trauma bond. So this brings up that huge question again. Why does someone stay? It's really not a simple choice. The mind puts up these powerful psychological shields to protect itself, and that makes it incredibly difficult to see the situation for what it actually is. And this, right here, is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Making excuses for them. Oh, they're just stressed at work. Blaming it on something external. This is how the mind copes with an unbearable reality. It's a survival tactic, really. It's trying to make sense of two ideas that just don't fit. I love this person, and this person hurts me. Okay, so this brings us to our final, and honestly, our most important section. Now that we've broken down what a trauma bond is and how it gets a grip on you, let's talk about the incredible power that comes from simply knowing this stuff. And let's be really, really clear about something. None of this is about pointing fingers or assigning blame. It's not. It's about one thing: clarity. It's about swapping out all that confusion for a framework,
a way to actually understand what is happening on a deep psychological level. Because that's what matters in the end, right? Recognizing the cycle, seeing the signs in your own life, and just being able to put a name to the experience. That is the beginning of everything. Understanding the pattern is what gives you the power to see it for what it is. And that is the first, most crucial step you can take toward change.
So what's the big takeaway here? If there is one thing I want you to hold on to, it's this. A trauma bond can feel like you're in an invisible cage. You can't see the bars, but you feel trapped. But by understanding how that cage is built, piece by piece, you start to see the bars. And recognizing the cage is always, always the first step to finding the key.